The talent this season already is insanely unreal. As a non-Asian viewer who has absolutely noticed the mistreatment of a lot of the Asian queens through the mainline series and specifically the RuPaul judged series, it's really nice to see this franchise bring in so many diverse talents from around the globe to celebrate not only their unique POVs in drag, but also to allow them to share their unique cultures and heritage and background, and how that intersects with their drag. That being said, I'm still a little bummed that Aurora Matrix, Vandamis Joachim, hell even Genie or Godland were not on this season, but hey, there's always season 2. I am familiar with about half of this cast, but regardless, I'm excited to see so many queens that I've never perceived before, and I'm ready to learn even more about them. Whether you are newer to this channel or you're a returning viewer, I watch every single season of Drag Race in order, talk about them on my weekly podcast, and then sometimes incorporate videos here with a couple detours along the way. We very recently finished talking about Drag Race Philippines Season 1, so a couple of these girls are very fresh in my mind right now. Brigading and Vinyas in particular. Episode 1 of Slaysian Royale is a throwback legacy challenge to Drag Race Philippines Season 1 Miss Shutacca, which made me so excited. I actually think that every single All-Stars adjacent franchise, like the Versus the World specifically, should include legacy challenges. I think a really cool twist would be each one of the contestants is allowed to choose like 2 or 3 different challenges from their original season that would go into a drafting pool that may or may not appear in the All-Star season that they're in. I think it would be really cool to celebrate each one of these unique challenges that were successful the first time around and put a little All-Stars twist on them. And that's basically what this was. There was a massive moment in this episode for Brigading in particular because she flopped really hard during that pageant in season 1. And there's a reveal portion of this runway, which is another big story moment for Vinyas, and she got roasted for not knowing how to do a reveal back in season 1. And Mama Pao even threw a little bit of shade at her while announcing the categories, saying, "And reveal, right, Vinyas?" I love that Pao always gets her digs in. Pao is becoming one of my favorite hosts because she is so plugged in with not only the television, but also with the contestants. She balances out this role of being a supervisor and a peer at the same time in a way that I think not a lot of the other hosts are able to do successfully. So before we talk about the entrance looks, I want to complain. I personally dislike main stage entrances. I get that this is a staple of the Versus the World franchise, and Drag Race Philippines Slaysian Royale is nothing if not another Versus the World. I just wish that they were in the workroom. I like that familiarity of them coming in one by one and getting to sit around the table, watching the people come in. I know that it's the same idea as being on the main stage. I would just rather them do it in the workroom. And I wish we could table this enter on the main stage permanently. Arizona Brandy is the very first to be revealed, one of the divas that I don't know anything about, but I'm obsessed with her already. She had a pretty huge story this week, from getting time taken away from her at the Q&A to killing the Q&A portion and being a really high placer in the pageant. Personally, I think it was a missed opportunity to not put her in top 2 with Kiana. My sibling and podcast co-host is an avid fan of Drag Race Philippines and told me that this queen is the one to watch out for. So I'm definitely excited to see more. Yuhua is next in, and she is coming in as just Yuhua, dropping the Hamasaki from her branding. I think that any All-Stars or Versus the World is a great place to come in and rebrand because the public got to meet you through this show, so now you can shift your perception with them through that very same show. I think the look was super cute. The tinsel hair was not my most favorite thing in the world, but I thought the customized menu was fun, and I would have loved to have seen what some of the foods were that she would have had in her menu. She immediately shaded Brigading, thinking that she was a token Caucasian, which I had to pause because I was laughing so hard. Her saying, "Oh, she lost her culture," was despicably evil. I don't think this production team is ready for the levels of chaos that Yuhua is going to bring to this particular season, because she is going to bring it. And of all of the American queens to bring in to represent Slaysians, I feel like Yuhua is the right type of energy for Drag Race Philippines, because those girlies are on all the time. Their television presence is amped up to 10. So I think Yuhua is a fun addition to this group. Next is Brigading, who is my diva. I am so tired of pretending that I am not a Brigading stan. I was trying really hard not to stan through all of her monologues about feeling like she should have been in the top and that she was clearly on the wrong show because they weren't identifying with her drag. But I'm obsessed with this girl. And I'm really rooting for her to win the whole thing, but I fear that it's not in the cards for her. After I saw this Kiana lip sync, I'm like, oh, that girl is absolutely going to win if there's any type of lip sync smackdown, because she's got it in the bag. I love Brigading's look in this beautiful white gown. I thought she looked so pretty and blonde. And I'm excited to see what she does, because a lot of her season 1 storyline was that she didn't have a brand. Ding ding. And I think this time around, she seems like she's figured herself out. She knows who she is. So I'm excited to see how that translates on to the show. Next is Siam Pussy. I was one of 5 people who watched Drag Race Thailand Season 3 from start to finish. A lot of people stopped watching after episode 1 because the mic quality was bad. A lot of people fell off after episode 2 because the production quality was bad. And a lot of people fell off after episode 3 because they were just over it. And I had a lot of negative opinions to say about that season. I felt a little bit better about my negative opinions because Pangina messaged me on Instagram to tell me thank you for my reviews. I don't think she was actually watching them because I don't think she would have thanked me had she known that I was basically saying the entire time that I thought production was terrible. I thought the queens were great. I thought they were really fun. I just overall got the impression that this production team was not ready for the Thailand girls and didn't know how to handle any of them, story-wise, game-wise, competition-wise. It was just a mess the whole season. Anyways, I really liked Siam on her season. I thought she was low-key bullied by some of the other queens from, I don't know, being from the States perhaps. There was a strange energy that kept floating around how they treated her that I wasn't liking, and so as an underdog player, I really enjoyed her. She was cute and sweet, albeit a little quiet, but she was super inconsistent with not only her personality, but also with her style and fashion. She would come out one week looking like $100,000, and then in the same episode, a few minutes later, she would be dressed in like season 1 Rebecca Glasscock levels of clothing. Carrie Colby design challenge levels of bad taste. And this season, she's bringing this level of cringy chaos that I'm just not used to from Siam. That makes me think, who is this Siam? I think she's gonna wear these girls out. She couldn't even get her entrance line out because she was so studied that she stumbled over it. A mess. I like her. I just feel like she's putting on airs a little too much, and I would like to see her maybe pull back on this personality that she's presenting and just be her. That's what I liked about her the first time. Vinyas is next, and as the resident insane woman of this cast, I am so excited to see how she competes energy-wise with Siam. Vinyas is kind of crazy in the best way, and I feel like the energy that she brings to Drag Race is very authentically Vinyas, where in comparison to Siam, who is putting on a little bit, I feel like Vinyas will ultimately shine a little more in that Chaos Goblin energy. In her season, I felt like there was a very distinct moment where you could see the judges getting bored with her and were done. It was the meme of, I don't want to play with you anymore. And so I hope that she's better received this time. Ivory Glaze is in next from a season of Down Under that I have not witnessed yet. Though I have been shown a clip of her fainting, and we definitely got the tea on that kunt. She threw a bit of shade at Tooting, saying that her faint was actually real. I just know that Tooting was at home watching like, now why am I in this? Speaking of, I would love to see Tooting in season 2. Bernie is next in, looking cute as hell as a little bunny. I've seen a few random episodes of her season from Drag Race Universe channel that's on our Roku, and I like her energy, she's fun. Next in is Kitty Space from Drag Race France. Another season that I haven't seen. I've only watched season 1. I always wonder how it feels to be the girly that missed the boat on your country's All-Stars season. Arantxa Castilla-La Mancha went to film UK versus the World Season 2, probably right in the same time period that España was filming for their All-Stars. Simultaneously, Kitty Space has come to Slaysian Royale at the exact same time that France All-Stars was probably filming. And so I always wonder if there are maybe any regrets about going and doing a versus the world when you could have been in your home country's All-Stars. In any case, she's cute and I like her. Something Wong is next in doing the absolute most. Her tongue was out for some reason, there was handography for some reason, a bad air kick with more tongue out. I love this crazy gooner, but I am not totally in love with the way that she's packaging herself this season. She made a lot of crazy and, dare I say, bad decisions this week. And I also really did not like the way that she snapped at Madame Yoko in Untucked. This is an edited show, so we're obviously not going to see the entire full picture, but it did rub me wrong. Madame Yoko is in next from Drag Race Belgium, another season that I haven't seen, but I love this girly. Her overall story presence this week was one that I've quite frankly never heard ever in my life. This vulnerability of talking about how her parents and her visited her country of birth because she felt like she needed to find something that was missing, only to find out that what she was looking for could not be found there, that she needed to find herself in Belgium. This was super powerful and somehow really impactful to me, who has not had this experience. I don't have that story, but it touched me in this way that I can't explain. I loved her rawness, and I wish that we got to see her a little longer. I also don't think that she should have been bottom 2 this week. Certainly don't think she should have gone home, but we'll get to that. Her overall story endeared me to her, and I kind of hope that we'll get a twist that she comes back next week, because I feel like episode 1 should not have been an elimination. Next is Suki Doll from Canada's Drag Race Season 2. I feel like the girls were gagged when she walked in because Suki designs for a lot of queens across the franchises. I will say something about her energy was a bit off this week. I don't know if she's just getting used to being in this room of people with such high energy. Maybe she just didn't totally connect with the challenge, but something about her overall energy seemed off. And I hope that she emerges just a bit more next week because I don't want her to go home early. I think that she was one of the best dressed in this entrance. That neon green and that skin tight dress, oh, it was everything. And then last in is Kiana, who had a huge storyline this week. She was a mini main girl, having this storyline of sabotaging Arizona and overall just being that girl. Her mug is cunty, and I'm obsessed already with her. I was not prepared at all. I was not primed in any way for her. I have a feeling she's gonna win the whole thing. I'm gonna put a pin in that for now. The first mini challenge is a hairography challenge. There was a lot of braid grabbing and spinning, and I'm gonna be hateful for a minute. If you're gonna grab your braid and spin it around, you better start levitating off the floor like Gertie Giggles. You better elevate. Otherwise, get your hand off that braid. Some of these girls had no shot against their competitors. Siam, Suki, and some were so out of their depth, I fear. And I specifically want to shout out Vinyas, who looked like one of those girls in those shampoo commercials who emerge from the ocean like they're a mermaid goddess. And they flip their hair back as water flecks off. And they smile, turn to the camera, and do a product plug. It was giving like early top model photo shoot challenge energy, and I was obsessed with it. Kiana wins that very first mini challenge and gets 5 seconds, and also can choose to remove 5 seconds from any other competitor for the Q&A portion specifically. It was a gag to see Philippine on Philippine hate crimes already in episode 1, because typically in these Versus the World franchises, the home country kind of locks in for episode 1, and then all bets are off for episode 2 going forward. But I really respected Kiana wanting to show some hospitality toward the international queens, and also having an opportunity to maybe sabotage someone that she knows is big competition, who can handle it well, kind of in the same way that I think Shay blocked Trinity back in All-Star 7 because she knew that Trinity was good competition and she'd be able to bounce back from it. Arizona is someone who will be able to bounce back easily, and this won't harm her or affect her in any way, as it clearly did not, because she held her own despite having less time than everyone else. There are 2 runway prompts for this week's challenge. National costume and evening gown that is also a reveal. I've complained 100,000 times about reveals, I don't need to do it again. We get to the challenge and I've got to say I'm a little grouchy that Jimbo is here. I'm a little grouchy that Alyssa is going to be here later because I really feel like there should be no Caucasian queens on the judging panel this season. I feel like it should be all Asian or Pacific Islander adjacent judges. If we were going to have someone from Canada, I would have personally loved to have seen Priyanka. Or imagine if Precious Paula Nicole was here for episode 1 because she objectively slayed the hell out of Miss Shutacca. So let's get into these runway prompts. I will only give some highlights. My standouts from Roots to Runway were the following. I loved Bernie because she was an entire event. It was this rich spectacle that I thought looked great on the runway. Arizona had this tiered box hat. Oh, it was so luxe and spectacular. And that outfit was stellar. I liked Ivory's message and philosophy of leave no dick unsucked. I'm very passionate about that platform. Siam is such a damn mess, but I'm really here for the messaging of being proud of Thailand, legalizing and recognizing queer marriage. I thought that celebration was beautiful to see, even if I think that a lot of the look lacked taste. Brigading knocked me out with the sheer scale and volume of the headpiece as well as the gaumont. I'm already standing, I fear. I think Kitty Space had maybe my least favorite look. I did not resonate with this look. I liked her second one, but then I think what nailed her bottom 2 placement for me was not answering the Q&A portion. And so for me, this look and the Q&A locked her into the bottom. Then Kiana came out in this sexy ass bull costume. It was everything. No cap, period, boots, house down. All of that. I need some of the Drag Race artists to get on that look right now, and I need you to get it everywhere. And then for Reveal Yourself, it was a little bit of a letdown. I think I had more low scores than I had high scores, where in National Costume, I had more high looks than I had low looks. Maybe I'm crazy, but I was not a fan of Suki's look. I thought it was unusual for her taste level. Arizona's magnetic bangs were batshit crazy. I was so here for it. I think it was one of my favorite concepts for this runway, which I normally find is a pretty dull category, but that I think locked it into a high placement because it was unexpected. Bringing the merkin bangs to be the head bangs and it was all magnets, bonkers. Siam proved in this category exactly what my problem was with her in Thailand 3. Her taste level is all over the place. I thought she looked crazy in her entrance look. I thought her national costume look was all over the place. And then this was perfect. There was nothing wrong with it. I worry that Siam does not have enough of a personal identity brand to be able to package that and present it week to week, challenge to challenge. And I feel like the problem that she had in Thailand 3 has not changed. Kiana did body bags some justice because we've seen body bags a few times on the Drag Race runway. I love that she leaned into the horror of it all, having the exposed brain and the bones and a little bit of gore. I thought overall she was completely impressive this week and absolutely earned her top 2 placement. And I'll be honest, I was a little bit bored by both of Sum's looks. I didn't think they were super impressive. But to me, the bottom 3 were very clearly just based off of the runway. Madame Yoko and Kitty Space, with Suki kind of being in a low, safe position because I just didn't really like either one of her looks. And I thought her energy was odd. But then some made the god-awful, wretched, terrible decision to do push-ups during her Q&A, which was distracting, bizarre, and uncomfortable. I don't like to cringe on Drag Race, and that made me cringe. And for me, that moment catapulted her into bottom 2. And then Kitty not answering the question at all dropped her into a bottom 2 placement for me, saving Yoko and Suki. But I still think that Yoko was low, but safe for me, bottom me. Kiana and Siam were the top 2 this week, which I kind of agree with. I don't think Siam should have been in the top 2. I think it should have been Arizona. There was a massive story opportunity because Kiana took time away from Arizona. Arizona did well in both runway categories and then knocked out the Q&A out of the park. I thought she was able to infuse humor and authenticity into her set, unlike a lot of the other girls who were a bit canned, clunky, and overall unnatural. I do wonder if maybe they were hesitant to put 2 Filipinas in the top 2. Maybe they want to give the illusion that this competition is fair, anybody could win it, and that it's not rigged or set up for just the Filipina queens. And so by putting 2 Filipinas in the top 2, maybe it would give the illusion that none of them have a shot. But I think it would have been totally justified and valid and fair if it was Kiana and Arizona. Plus it sort of ties off this early storyline because I don't imagine that they will have much tension as we move forward. Maybe they will, but I'm just not getting that sense. Maybe it was also to lock in that Kiana would win this first lip sync because Siam is quite frankly a dreadful lip sync performer. However, I am a bitch who loves a callback. And I kind of love that Siam chose this outfit to lip sync in because it's basically a 1-for-1 redo of the exact look that sent her home in Thailand 3. The lip sync song was Debut by Cat's Eye, which I'm a little confused why they didn't save the girl group number for the girl group challenge. But I did appreciate that it is such a diverse group of girls that are singing this, and this cast is quite literally that. I'm hoping that we're gonna get a lot of Asian bops this season, and I'm fingers crossed that this will be the season that they finally bag an Utada song. Although I'm not holding my breath that Sony will release any of her music, especially to a drag performance. But if we got like Sanctuary, doubt that we would get Simple and Clean, but I mean, come on. I would love if this is the season that manages to do it. And Kiana legitimately made my mouth drop in a way that performers have not made me do in so long. She might be one of the best lip syncers I've ever seen on Drag Race. Like, in my opinion, I thought no one would be able to hold a candle to Nira. I thought that she would be number 1 in the placement forever of all time. And I think Kiana might be up there. Like, I want to see the 2 of them lip sync at DragCon. I think the roof of the building would pop off. She hits those beats so perfectly and fluidly that makes me realize that she deeply understands the musicality of the song. She has purpose when she goes into it, and that's something that a lot of drag artists just don't have. She's gonna be a super fun one to watch this season. And Siam basically wasn't there during this lip sync. Siam could have walked off the stage, gotten on a plane, flown back to San Francisco, and I don't think any of us would have noticed. Kiana wins the lip sync, and her broad titty has a lipstick with the name Madame Yoko on it. It gagged me in a way that made me cackle that she said she wasn't vibing with Yoko's energy in the workroom. Like, that was so unnecessarily, scaldingly fierce that I screamed, even if it was a bit mean-spirited. I think on a competitive side, it was a good decision. Yoko seems like someone who is strong competition and will be able to do well in other categories where, no shade, some isn't very good at Drag Race. We saw that the first time around. And they're making a lot of odd decisions already. And so they probably will continue to not be that good and are an easy buffer to leave in the bottom. I know the girls in these All-Stars adjacent seasons always want to play fair and they want to play by what the judges' critiques are, and I totally respect that. It's probably how I would do it too. But also, sometimes you gotta play dirty when you get into these types of competitions. And this is the opportunity to do that. If they eliminated Shay and Get a Room, Juju could have won All-Stars 5. Every decision you make on these seasons has an impact later on. You want to beat the best, but your opportunity to beat them is right there when they're in the bottom. So get rid of the strong players and have a Roxy Andrews that carries you to the finale. Just thinking out loud about that. And I don't really imagine that Sum is going to do well in any sense of the word in any of the future challenges. Maybe I'll eat my words next week, but I just don't see it. Which next week is a girl group challenge. There's an odd number of queens, so I can't help but think that maybe Yoko will get another chance, and then we'll have 3 groups of 4. And there's already some tension between Sum and Yuhua. Is something going to be the villain of the season? I would gag. So what do you think about this first episode? Let me know in the comments below. I'm so excited to see how this season turns out and what twists and turns it takes, what other legacy challenges they may pull from other franchises around the globe. And I've gone into this completely blind and spoiler free. I'm glad to have a season that I'm just super excited about. Be sure to check out some of my other Drag Race content, and I will be trying to post my recap reviews of each episode of Slaysian Royale on Thursdays, first thing in the morning, my time. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see y'all on the flip.